Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm back with another installment of my Destash series. This video is going to be me trying to go through my teals in my collection. I admittedly don't have like a big number of teals, but I feel like there is a lot of overlap with the same amounts that I have, if that makes sense. So even though I didn't have a lot to begin with, I did still end up talking about them quite a lot. So I will save more of my thoughts for the end. For now, let's just get into the video. All right, so we are here ready to get all of my teal kind of polishes. I'm not sure how many are gonna be like teal versus like aqua, because personally I feel like aqua leans a little bit more in the blue category, but there are some that I would consider to be like a lighter shade of teal. You know what I mean? So basically any shade that is just in between blue and green, I'll just pull it out. And if there are some that, you know, are a little too blue leaning, then I'll just pull it out once I do my light blues. But yeah, for now, let's just get into the time lapse. Okay, so here is pretty much every teal slash maybe aqua that I have in my collection. It's just under 40, so that's definitely not nearly as bad as I was expecting, but I feel like in my mind it's still bad because I know like a lot of these are creams that just look really similar to each other, you know? So yeah, maybe I can start by organizing or separating them by creams and specialty finishes, and then go by color group, because I do already see a number of similarities. So okay, yeah, I have a few extra, like this whole bottom row, and then these here, these are all specialty finishes, and then these are like the creams. Well, technically this is a jelly, but you know, it's plain enough that I'll just keep it there. Well, actually this is a jelly too, so but see, this is like so much darker. Either way, I know I'm gonna keep the jellies, so it doesn't really matter too much, but let me just like move these a little out of the way so we can start with the creams first. Okay, so from here, I know I have a couple of these like darker shades that I'll put on the bottom and then move the lighter ones on top. So like I mentioned, this one here is a jelly. This is Cirque's Curacao jelly from their most recent glazed collection. I guess it's, yeah, more of like a turquoise blue. It definitely looks very blue on camera. I probably should have like mentioned that, or, you know, made a disclaimer at the beginning of the video that these colors are just gonna not be color accurate, especially like the actual teals, because they just pull more like true blues, if that makes sense. But even this top row, I feel like leans a little bit more green in real life. So, you know, these are not going to be color accurate here. I don't know, capturing this specific kind of color on my iPhone camera is just, I can't do it. So apologies for that. But yeah, so starting with the jelly, like I mentioned, I am going to be keeping this one, even though it is, you know, kind of more of a blue shade. I just don't find it as blue as Island Pea's turquoise water, which, you know, even though it has turquoise in the name, I guess like in real life, it is more turquoise, but it's just a little bit more blue than Cirque. So either way, I'm going to be keeping them. From these creams here, the Nailtopia and the Paint Box look pretty much the same. This is Nailtopia's Into the Wild, and this is Paint Box's Like Satin. I admittedly don't think I have ever tried that one, but I know that I do love Nailtopia, so I'm just gonna keep this one and set this one aside. Actually, I should put it over here in my destash pile. And lastly, this is Mooncat's Abandoned Boardwalks. Beautiful color, absolutely keeping that. Then for these more like tealy green shades, these OPI shades that I have here are I'm Yacht Leaving and My Dog Sled is a Hybrid. I think you can tell on camera that this is so much brighter. This is like a perfect summer color. I think I shared this as one of my summer favorites last year. And this is basically what I would call like the fall version of it, where it's just, you know, more muted. Super gorgeous though. So I know I'm keeping both of those. Actually, let me keep these out here though, just to kind of, I don't know, do more comparisons, because I feel like Olive Ave's Ironic, which, you know, these kind of have some ugly bottle syndrome, so I might actually have to swatch these. But Olive Ave's Ironic looks kind of similar, but funny enough, I feel like with a lot of Olive Ave shades, they might look similar in the bottle, but then on the nail, they're just like so different. I don't know if it's like that they just dry down a little bit darker or something. Honestly, these two are like kind of similar though. First impressions of just doing these like, you know, little one swipe swatches. The OPI is a little bit more pigmented. Olive Ave's is a little bit more like crelly leaning, and maybe it's a little bit lighter or like more blue. I feel like I don't need to do a second coat, but I kind of want to, because interestingly enough, I wouldn't consider Ironic to be like a fall color like the way I just described My Dog Sled as a Hybrid, but on the nail they are like so similar. Again, Olive Ave is like a smidge more blue. The OPI almost, like, at least, you know, in real life, it leans ever so slightly like a dark jade kind of color. Are pretty similar, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, I shouldn't keep both of them. If I really had to choose, I would go with the OPI just because it had a nicer formula. Like, I would love it more for nail art, and like an even more direct lighting. I feel like you can notice that's like a little bit lighter and brighter, so I kind of do like that color more, but it just pains me because I know Ironic is like such a nice shade. Like, it's a beautiful Olive Ave shade, you know, but yeah, if I'm gonna choose, I would rather choose to keep the OPI. I think these other kind of teals here are maybe closer to I'm Yacht Leaving. I know I already compared this when I did the, oh, this is Holo Taco's David's Teal, by the way, which again is not color accurate. I did already compare it to this OPI, and the Holo Taco is just like way more intense, like so much more saturated. Not exactly neon, but like it almost like wants to be a neon, especially compared to the OPI. So I know for sure I'm keeping that, but I still would want to keep the OPI. Zoya's Harbor is another beautiful one. I wonder if this one is maybe a little closer to My Dog Sled as a Hybrid, because I feel like it just looks a little more muted. No, it's definitely brighter. You can see just how much that like sticks out, but I think it's just not as bright as, yeah, as the OPI. Look at that little drop there. That's the OPI shade. The longer swipe on this side is the Zoya. I could have sworn though with Zoya, I don't know, I mean, this other shade here is Eternal Cosmetics Aruba. I think Eternal Cosmetics only sells online, and I'm pretty sure they also like don't sell their polishes individually, which is kind of annoying, but they were super affordable from what I remember just even, you know, a couple of years ago. So I don't know if that's still true now. There it is on like the very right side of my thumb. It's definitely lighter, more, almost more sagey green. I'll set this one aside. While I do like Eternal, I think they have, you know, some cute, really affordable shades and sets and whatever, and the formulas aren't that bad, you know, especially for like how affordable they are. I think I will set this one aside because I feel like I have a green that's a little bit more similar to this, and I don't want to like, you know, dig it out. I'd rather just set it aside. This one is Cracked Polish's Breakfast at Monique's, which is definitely the lightest, most blue leaning of the shades here, so I probably should have saved that, but I will be keeping it either way. So yeah, now I just have Retro Teal from Island P, which is darker, a little bit more saturated. Hopefully you can see it there towards the bottom near my cuticle area. It's just, yeah, a lot darker. Maybe, I mean, it's probably the closest in value to the Mooncat shade, but Okay, this is gonna be impossible to to tell on camera because again, it's not color accurate, but you could see the difference where this like little swipe here is the Mooncat. So it is more blue leaning and maybe a smidge darker. So unfortunately, I feel like these all are different enough that I want to keep them all. Like I really think, you know, from everything that's on my thumb here, just like the top two colors, like the initial two that I swatched, the OPI and the Olive Ave, like you can barely see the difference between those. And I already set aside the Olive Ave, you know, so these other shades are are different. Okay, not great progress, but it's fine. We will move on to the specialty finishes now. So from here, some of the lightest ones that I have are Island Peas Riding Waves. This is even like in the older bottle before they rebranded. Absolutely love this color. I feel like it doesn't look like much here, but it's like one of those staple summer colors for me. It definitely looks a lot more green than I remember it, so I'm not sure if it's faded at all or if it's just, you know, a lot of these are like darker teals that have like a lot more blue, and so, you know, in comparison this just looks more green. Either way, we're keeping that. This one here is Bee's Knees Little Star from whatever collection it was, I think last year. Again, this is looking like a sky blue, but it's like a little green leaning. This one is definitely on the sheer side. I think I had mentioned this, maybe not during my destashing light greens video, but oh no, I think it was in one of my polish pickup window shopping videos where there was a shade from BCB called Aesop's Fables that reminded me of like a Bee's Knees shade that I had, but just the more opaque version. So I think I'm gonna hold on to this for now in the hopes that I will come across a more opaque version, because I know Bee's Knees shimmers are beautiful, like it's giving, you know, ethereal, magical mermaid scales, especially this color. But, you know, sometimes like, I don't know, shimmers can just piss me off if they're too sheer. So I will hold on to this for now. This one is actually not that teal. It's like more of that aqua blue color, but since it's here, I might as well show you. This is an oldie Noodles nail polish called Stay Salty. I love it. I love it so much. I love blues like this with a coppery warm shimmer. It just reminds me of the sun bouncing off the waves. Oh, and all the sparkle too. So pretty. Next we have this cupcake polish called Imagine. Oh my god, I love these glitters. This is another kind of like oldie from my collection. It's like a haul, you know, of glitters that I did years ago. And the only cupcake polishes that I've tried, well, actually no, I did get one from PPU, but then I destashed it. But these original glitters, you know, from my original haul years ago, they're still just like some of my favorites. Even though it looks like I have barely used it. It is just so beautiful. Absolutely cannot recommend trying this type of formula enough. Gorgeous. I feel like I'm basically just gonna be keeping all of these. I'm just showing you the teals that I have because these, you know, being specialty finishes, they're all pretty much different finishes, you know, like I don't have, let me see, like, oh, actually the closest that I did have was Holo Taco's Never Tied Down and Island Peas, I think it's called Blue Lagoon, or it's just Lagoon. Those are the closest to being dupes, but I already set aside the Island Pea, like that's already in like a destash pile somewhere because I was like, oh, yeah, it's beautiful, but why did I get that when I already have this Holo Taco? Everything else, oh, actually, wait, this is a cream, but this is obviously way darker than any of the ones that like I shared. This is a super dark teal cream called Mischief from Night Owl Lacquer. My best guess is that this is very similar to Bring Me the Teal from Holo Taco, but I don't have that one, so, you know, I can't destash it. I guess maybe, okay, wait, I kind of lied before. The other closer like potential dupes that I have here are Island Peas Enchantment and Mooncat's Drown My Demons. But if you watch my shorts videos. You probably saw me compare these, I think earlier. Oh, well, technically it's already a new month. So early last month, I compared these and I would not call them dupes. I think I would say that Mooncats is more of a blue base, like Island P is more of a true like teal to me. So color-wise, they are a little bit different, but even finish-wise, Island P has like the extra hollow flaky, Mooncat doesn't have that. The magnetic shimmer is also a little bit darker in Mooncat. It's like kind of hard to tell here, but it is darker, so they're different enough that I can justify both. These next two here are the Teal linear hollows that I have. This is Olive Ave's Bondi Blue, and Moxie did a collaboration with Tyler's Trinkets like a couple of years ago, so I don't think you can get this anymore, but it's called Baker's Dozen, and I'm not sure, no, you probably can tell that the hollow really pops more in the Moxie polish. I've mentioned it so many times, you know, when reviewing Olive Ave, especially like their holographics, that they aren't really hollow. Maybe in direct sunlight, you know, you'll get like a little whisper of it, but it doesn't have that like intense rainbow flare that you see in other holographic polishes. So I usually don't like them because of that. It's only like a few colors that I think it like works. With Bondi Blue, like I actually do really like the color, but do I really need two teal linear hollows if one of them isn't even that hollow? You know what I mean? So again, I'm not sure how well you can see that. It's only one swipe, so maybe it's not totally fair to judge off of that, but I didn't even need to swatch them because it's like, if I had to choose between these, I'm keeping the Moxie, like hands down. It just has a more intense saturated color, a stronger hollow flare, you know. It is a little bit more pigmented on that first coat, maybe hard to tell, right? But Bondi Blue has like almost a jelly leaning base. So again, beautiful color, but it's not a finish that I need multiples of. So I will set aside the Olive Ave. You know, I actually want to see, this is Island P's Rock Candy from their Candy Coated collection. This one is a magnetic and not, actually no, it does have like hollow, but it's more of like a scattered hollow. I just wanted to see like color wise if maybe that was going to be close to the Moxie, but I think you can tell I have it like up at the top there that it's just a lot brighter, you know, like a summer teal. The Moxie I would call like a fall or winter teal. So yeah, we're keeping that. Another easy keep is Wildflowers Don't Play Coy. This was a PPU shade from 2020, or actually maybe even earlier because I grabbed this one from Rewind in 2020. So this is maybe from 2019. This one kind of leans more blue. You know, it has like a very bright like aqua turquoise jelly base, and hopefully you can see that like in the bottle just how clear it is. Like this has a sheer base, and I know I just said that, you know, some of these like sheer shimmers have just really been like pissing me off lately, but I love this shade. It's just the flakies in it that just glow in such a way that, you know, it looks like a mermaid's tail. I always love featuring this one whenever I'm talking about like Pisces or something. Like it's just so beautiful. So, you know, I do wish that the base was a little bit more pigmented. Actually, I think this would be like great layered. Oh my god, yeah, the color looks nearly the same. I could layer it over Cirque's Curacao jelly. So yeah, that's good to know. I'll be keeping that. Speaking of jellies, this is Cirque's Verdigris jelly, which is like a very, very dark teal kind of jelly. So I'm keeping that. I think the closest to a dupe to this that, you know, I obviously don't have in my collection is Cracked Polish's Rolling in the Deep. I think that one is just a little bit more blue, at least, you know, going off of the website photos, which Again, maybe that's just how it like captures, but in real life it's more teal. I definitely would love to see a side-by-side of it, but for now I will be keeping this one. These two Mooncat shades here are, oh, this is Snake Charmer from the Medusa Unleashed collection. It's like one of their glitters. Love their glitters so much. Admittedly, don't really wear them as often because, you know, I have to wear like a peel off base. Otherwise, like, because this is the type of formula that you're going to be scrubbing. So I'm just honestly not patient enough to put on a peel off base and then, you know, put on the polish. It's a lot to commit to. So I admittedly don't wear it a lot, but I love it. And I would love to just, you know, still have it in my collection. And this one is none other than Maelstrom. Oh, an absolute freaking beauty. Again, the base in this one is like a little bit more blue than like a true teal or whatever, but the flakies in this are just so green that it, you know, it just ends up pulling teal on the nail. Keeping that one. I know I already compared these like in my video, but this is Holo Taco's, what is it called? Wait a Minute, which has larger flakies, like, so they're not dupes. And so, you know, I am going to be keeping both, but if I had to choose, I would just keep Maelstrom. But I do really like the Holo Taco one. Like, surprisingly, these larger flakes I think are just so pretty. I think they just really add to that, like, you know, mermaid under the sea vibe for the collection. This one, I might as well get it out of the way. This is a super, super old polish from the brand Sincerely Polish. This is the shade Jasmine. I think I talked about this brand when I did my favorite glitters video, like so long ago at this point, but they're just like one of my first, or maybe not one of my first indies, but at this point, one of the oldest indies in my collection. And, you know, sadly, they're not around anymore making polishes, but they had come out with this like Disney princess themed collection, obviously, right, with, you know, inspired all the princess names. I don't think I pulled this one out when I did my greens. I don't even know if I would consider it like green. It's like kind of teal but kind of green. This one, if you can just look at the glitters, can you take a guess on who the princess is? I'll give you 3 seconds. It's Ariel. I don't know if that was 3 seconds. I actually wasn't counting. Anyway, so yeah, she had, you know, these princess glitters that I was like so obsessed with. Like, they're just so, so pretty. So I'll put the Ariel one back. I don't know, I think it's like a little bit more green, but I am gonna be keeping Jasmine. And I'll save the Cirque ones for last. The Holo Taco one here, this is from their thermal collection. This is Funny Feeling. So this one, actually, yeah, I can swatch it now because I am running warm. It's not even that hot out today, but I don't know, I'm just feeling warm. So we'll see if it still transitions. It's this beautiful teal color in the cold state. And yeah, look at that. It transitions to a brighter kind of, not exactly lime green. It does have like a little bit more yellow in it than I would like, but I actually still love the color. I think because this has like a greenish shimmer in it, it leans a little bit more lime, but it's beautiful. It would look better on a second coat, but I don't feel like doing that right now. So either way, we're keeping it, especially because, you know, I don't want it to die. This was like one of my, if not my top favorite shade from this collection, so I should really wear it soon. And lastly, for Cirque, the first one I have here is Cerrillos, which I think is retired. This is a linear holo, which I know I was talking about before with like Bondi Blue and then the Moxie shade, but I'm sure you can tell that this is much lighter than those other two. I have it there on like the lower kind of bottom right section of my nails. So, you know, definitely a lot lighter, a little bit more, you know, blue leaning than these other two, but I still would consider it like a turquoise, you know, teal adjacent color. So I am still gonna keep this one. Next I have, oh, actually wait, I like just shared this in the dark greens video. This is Elixir of Everlasting Life. This one, yeah, why did I don't know why I pulled this out, because this is definitely like a very dark, like Kelly green kind of base color. I guess maybe because like the shimmer is like so strong and blue, I thought like, oh, well, maybe it can be you know, seen as teal, but you know, it's more dark green, but either way, I'm keeping it. And lastly, these two I would say are the most similar because they're the same finish. These are like the facets kind of polishes. This one here is Paraiba and this one is Dioptase. So obviously not dupes. You can tell they are very, very different, where Paraiba is a lot lighter, brighter, you know, more of like a summer color in my opinion. It's also like a lot more green in real life, but I don't know, am I like misremembering this color? I think this is like one of those teals that leans more green than blue. Like hard to tell here on camera because again, it's not like super color accurate and it's only the one coat, but it's not green enough to be compared to like, what's the one from Island P? Jelly Bean. That is like a, you know, a grassy or like a Kelly green kind of shade. See, like that's a true green, right? I definitely would still consider this teal, but it's like teal leaning green. Actually, you know, seeing this in more like direct light over here, this is kind of very similar in color to, where is it? To Rock Candy. I don't think I shared these when I was doing the comparisons. I mean, no, in real life, you can see the difference where, again, this is just a bit more saturated, a little bit darker and more green. Because it's a jelly, you know, it just like applies a little bit lighter. So I just want to show these side by side. Okay, so this is like an awkward way to hold it. They are very similar, I won't lie. Rock Candy, again, does have some hollow, but because it's a magnetic, I feel like it has an even stronger, like, icy shimmer in there. And I wouldn't wear it unmagnetized, but now I'm like thinking, oh, should I, like, do I need both of these? And I do love this finish, like, especially the more facets one from Cirque. Functionally speaking, I feel like I would rather keep the Island P because it's magnetic, so it's like, okay, I could wear it, you know, on its own if I wanted just a shimmer sort of look, or I obviously could magnetize it, you know, for some more dimension. You can't really do that with like the Cirque shade, but I do have their silver magnetic topper called Chemistry, so you know, you can always add that. But I don't know, I really love how bright and colorful it is. Okay, I'm gonna keep it for now because I just really, really love it. And the other one I know for sure I'm keeping is Dioptase because it's just a beauty. Like this one's definitely darker and more blue leaning. It's kind of like a peacock color, you know? Oh my God, I love those. Oh, but you know what? I'm pretty sure I did compare these at some point. Pull it out just to be safe. This is Island P's Snowstorm. They look very similar. Super, super similar, but Island P is like a true like dark blue. The Cirque definitely is like teal, but it's just like a very, very dark teal. You know what I mean? On the nail, are they actually that close? Can I tell them apart? I mean, I definitely can, but hopefully you can as well. I have Cirque on the left and then Island P on the right on the upper half of my nail. Hopefully you can see the Island P is like a little darker. Maybe it's more obvious like, yeah, in this angle. So obviously in like, you know, maybe some lighting, or some could say most lighting, there may be a little too similar, but I cannot choose between them. Oops. Wouldn't that be so funny if I just like broke my Island P and so I had to stay with the Cirque? Obviously that would be tragic, but yeah, so I can't choose between them. I love these colors, and so I am gonna keep both. So, oh my God, this is gonna be so embarrassing. But yeah, let me just pull out, or you know, show the ones that I'm keeping. Okay, so these are the teals that I am keeping in my collection. It's a lot. It's more than anyone needs. Okay, look, I'll be the first to admit it, but I cannot narrow it down. I love these kind of shades so much. Of course, I do think it is excessive to have so many, especially in like just creams. Specialty finishes, I can like, you know, justify it a little bit more because it's like, okay, well, I can have, you know, one magnetic or one flaky or one shimmer, and you know, it's easy to have a few of those. The creams, I do wish I was able to like, you know, whittle it down a little bit more, but unfortunately they are just all so pretty, just shades that I love wearing, especially as the weather gets warmer. If I really had to choose, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take one out because I just don't need I don't need all of these. I'm gonna take out Zoya's Harbor. This was one of, I don't know, the older ones in my collection. It's beautiful. I wonder if this one has faded because I feel like it's another one that I just remember it being brighter than it is. I mean, if I remember correctly, it's this one here in like the middle, that like swipe there in the middle. And personally, I feel like it's kind of similar to, you know, the OPI and the Olive Ave shade at the top here. So, you know, it can, I guess it can just go. It's like, it's too close to those. I'd rather, like if I had to choose, right, I'd rather keep the brighter ones. So yeah, this is the final amount of teals that I will be keeping. And now I am so embarrassed to show you the, the few shades that I'm destashing. Here it is. Here are the 5 polishes that I'm destashing. I didn't do the math yet, but I am pretty sure this is like the worst that I did as far as, you know, the amount that I've taken out. But I am going to consider this successful because I am destashing 4 creams. And 3 of them I feel like are, you know, similar enough. In some ways may not look successful, but I actually think it is because again, these are the type, especially like with these 3 shades, these are the ones that I knew I had like a lot of in my collection, and why I wanted to do this like destash series to, you know, compare like the ones that are most similar and remove whatever duplicates I have. So I will consider this a success. So that wraps up me trying to destash my teal polishes. As always, I would love to know your thoughts on this video if you have a lot of teals yourself, because again, I feel like, you know, compared to other colors that I've done so far, teals is probably like the smaller color group, but I still happen to have a lot of like creams or similar enough shades, but it was still really hard to actually destash some of them because I just really enjoy this color, especially as a cream in the summertime. So while I didn't take out as many to destash in this video compared to other colors, I still feel like it is some progress, so I'm happy about that. Like I've mentioned in previous videos too, this destashing thing is just gonna be like an ongoing process for me because I'm always like receiving new polishes through PR, and unless we move into like a larger space with like a second room or something, I'm not gonna be expanding. So, you know, I will be able to like revisit some of these in the future. Speaking of actually destashing though, I know I've seen a couple of people asking this in my previous videos. My next round of like uploading or listing my destashes is probably gonna be in early June. I think I am gonna split up my blues into 2 parts similar to my greens. So I'm hoping by the end of the month, I'll have my destashing light blues. So that way, once I list in June, I'll be listing my light greens, my dark greens, my 5 teals, and whatever light blues I take out. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!